So, how are things?
Things are not good, but like I'm an optimistic person. Obviously, when I first got here, the first thing I was trying to do was get out. But now, you know, where I've been here for close to 3 weeks now, I'm just being optimistic about the situation, and my first objective is my recovery and sobriety, and I can maintain that here. So, you know, things are going okay.
Are you an addict?
I was an addict, and yeah, I'm a recovering addict.
What was your drug of choice?
It was opiates.
How did you get involved in those?
Honestly, I think most people gets involved in it the same way, and obviously it's such a bad epidemic that's spreading through the nation. Like one of the Jersey Shore cast members, he recently came out with his opiate addiction, and I just think it's a really bad epidemic. And I think as you know, the age gets younger and younger for this disease. I really think it's a disease, and I got into it because everybody around me was doing it, you know, and I tried it. And
when you were filming the first season of Buckwild, were you using then?
Yes, I was using then.
Were you ever, what made air on MTV, were you ever under the influence or high during any of that?
Yeah, I think the people that know me and even the people that don't know me could, you know, tell that I was under the influence.
Did you ever get high with any other cast members?
I'm not gonna disclose that.
So, I mean, did it get worse, that addiction or the need for these drugs, as sort of the fame and the attention built?
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, because I was on camera and, you know, I think, yeah, my addiction definitely increased, you know, with the show and the fame. And that's something that I had to, that's something that I have to control if I am, you know, going to do future seasons, or if the show does, you know, continue. That's something that I, you know, I'm trying to terminate right now so that I can be ready and sober.
Yeah. What's that recovery been like?
Honestly, the recovery was up and down before I got to jail, because, you know, before I got here, I was definite that, you know, I needed help, and I was in the waiting process to get help. I was waiting for a bed space available, and obviously within that waiting time I was using because I was an addict, and you know, I got drug tested before a bed space was available, and you know, that kind of landed me in here because I failed my drug test.
When you were out on bond, when you were released the first time, how long was it before you started using again?
When I was, actually I was clean for a while, and then it just, like any addiction, the mental aspect just drove me crazy. So, you know, I started using. I needed help, and I couldn't get it at that very moment, so I started using.
Did you know that when you were taking that drug test that you were going to fail?
Yeah, I knew I was gonna fail.
And was there ever any moment of stepping back and saying, whoa, this is, I mean, I've got a lot riding, and my career is kind of building, and I've got a lot going for me, I should stop this? Or, I mean, but the addiction sort of takes that over, doesn't it?
Yeah, as in any addict and any addiction, I think that the number one thing on that person's mind is just, you know, getting their fix, and they don't really, I mean, they take their goals and everything into consideration, but all of that is just in the back burner, in the back of your mind.
Going back to the Summersville property earlier this year, there was, police found heroin there. They found a lot of drugs and a lot of cash. And they're saying, since you were there, you were a part of all that.
Right.
Were you a part of that?
Honestly, I know it's cliche to say, but I really, like, you know, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, I'm just a user. I have nothing to do with any, like, you know, transactions or anything like that. And the heroin, like, I will totally say that it was not mine, and, you know.
Have you ever used heroin?
No.
That's like the point where, I mean, that's a pretty scary drug. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, it's a very addicting drug, but I've never used that.
Let's talk a little bit about Buckwild. When, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of mourning still going on for Shain. When you heard about that, when you heard about his death, where were you?
I was in jail, and it just drove me crazy that I couldn't give my condolences to Loretta and Dale, which are his parents, and, you know, attend the funeral. You know, I really tried my best to be there and pay my respects because, you know, he was an awesome person.
Obviously, you guys had a lot of back and forth on the shows. Was there something that maybe we didn't see on MTV that is a favorite memory of yours with Shain?
Well, you guys didn't see this, but we were flown, like, we flew out to LA, and when we flew out to LA, me and Shain actually, like, we, like, had a lot of fun there in LA, so that's something you guys didn't get to experience with us. And just like mudding and everything, my first time mudding was with him, so I'll definitely cherish those moments.
Yeah. When you were behind bars the first time, after the drug test, were you contacted by MTV?
No, I was not contacted.
So you haven't been in contact with any of them?
Well, actually, I've been in contact with MTV after I got out of jail the first time.
And what was their reaction to the arrest?
They obviously, you know, were not happy with it, but they were surprisingly very sympathetic to my problem that I had, because they know that I'm not a criminal. Like, you know, I'm not a bad, like, part to this society. They knew that this was, like, a problem that I was, you know, facing.
Were there plans to maybe continue the show while you were in here? Did they mention that? Or I guess you were out on bail, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, while I was out on bail, we were, you know, proceeding with the show. But, you know.
Did they talk about the arrest at all on the show?
No, I mean, I didn't even get a chance to film before I, you know, landed back in here. But yeah, we were going to talk about the arrest and, you know, my problem.
And how did you find out the show was being put on hold?
Actually, I just, from the news, from my parents.
What's that like?
Honestly, I think it's really noble of the network, because this was a really highly, like, it had high ratings, and they chose, like, respect over money, like, and, you know, I think that's just noble of them to put it on hold for now, and I think that's the best decision, you know, considering the unfortunate events that's happened to the cast members on the show.
It's been kind of I don't think anyone has ever had a year quite like you've had.
No, yeah. I don't know. I think that there's other people that's been in worse positions than me, but, I mean, but, you know, I'm just trying to make the best of it, and I'm just, you know, recovering right now, and just sobriety is, like, my #1 objective right now.
Do you think, are you hopeful that they'll be sympathetic toward your recovery?
Yeah, I think from the start they've been sympathetic towards my recovery, and, you know, like any addiction, like, you relapse, especially when you haven't gotten help. And now that I'm actually, like, being sober and getting help, I think they'll be more sympathetic towards my situation.
What do you learn from all this?
I just learned that, you just can't be influenced so easily, and you just have to stick by your morals. And honestly, I know it's cliche, but just say no, to drugs, because it can just take over your whole world, and in the flash of an eye, you can just, lose a lot of things. I know there's a lot of girls that would love to be in my position, being able to be on a reality show, and I just didn't really think about that.
Was there a point when you said, man, this is out of control? I mean, the addiction, I'm doing things that I usually wouldn't just to get that next high.
No, because honestly, it's never really gotten to that level. I've never, I've seen people do some really scary, crazy things to get their high. And I think with me, I just, got in trouble, and, that's, what led me to see that, whoa, this is taking over my life, so.
What do you do in assuming that MTV is done with Buckwild?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Actually, I have other goals. I graduated college with my accounting degree, and currently I'm studying for my CPA. So while I'm in, I'm trying to make the best of it, and I'm trying to, hopefully be ready to sit for my CPA exam as soon as I get out of here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Shoot, that was no time at all. Those are kind of my questions.
Okay.
You're lightning fast. What else should we talk about? I mean, what else is there? Let's talk a little bit about just some of your experience with Buckwild. I mean, while you were filming that, were there any surprises there?
No, I think part of the reason why the network, put this on hold was because, unlike every other reality show, we didn't go by a script. And I think that's what made us one of the top rated shows, is because the audience was they were able to see how genuine we were and how real we were. And I think because, I wouldn't be able to go on camera right now after, Shain's death and, everything that's been going on, and just be able to be just fake about everything, So I think they took that into consideration with putting the show on hold, and so, yeah.
A lot of the other cast members are trying to create a campaign to keep the show alive in some form. You think you should take a different direction? What would you say to those cast members?
Honestly, I think right now, I think it's just disrespectful of them if they want to if they want to just start back on air at this very moment. I think that there should be a respectful grieving process for the main character of the show, and I don't see how they're trying to campaign for the show immediately after one of our main cast members, dead.
Yeah. I mean, do you understand where they're coming from, or is it just completely foreign?
I understand where they're coming from because, I'm a big fan of the show. I want the show to continue, and I hope they do continue it. So I understand where they're coming from. But I think it's just too soon to start filming again.
Yeah. Any word on your modeling website?
Oh yeah. I wanted to say, check out The Real, SALWA, therealsalwa.com, and you can actually see a clip from, you know, when right before I was turning myself in. I made like a video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, shoot. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Are you comfortable with that? I mean, is there...
I just want to say, like, thank you to, like, my fans that are supporting me, like, in and out of jail. Like, the fans I have in jail, they've been a tremendous, like, recovery support for me. And the fans out of jail, like, that are writing me letters, I just want to thank them because they're really helping me through this process.
When you get out again, and you will be out again, I mean, and the temptation is going to be there, the same people are probably going to have the exact same things.
Yeah.
So the temptation is going to be there. How do you overcome that?
Me sitting here, every day that I sit here, my hatred for this disease and this addiction, I feel like my hatred for that, and my hatred for the people that I surrounded myself with is going to be me overcoming this disease.
Good deal. Good deal. Cool. Well, great job. That was really articulate and well said.
Really?
And I think